Welcome to the Wolf Connection podcast. Let's talk about some wolves. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wolf Connection podcast. We have a very special guest with us today. Netanel is coming to us from Shakti Sound Bath. She has been practicing in the technique of sound healing for over 2 decades. Thank you for braving the rain and coming up to the ranch. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been up here. How many times have you been up to the ranch? A couple times, right?
Yeah,
I think
this ranch, this facility, I think like 3 times so far.
Okay, and so
you visited the old ranch?
I did. I think about 7 years ago with one of my good friends, Howard Wills. Do you guys know him?
I don't. Is he? How do you know Howard?
He's a powerful healer, and he has forgiveness prayers. And I used to live in Hawaii, and that's where him and his family live. So we're close friends.
Oh wow! So you came from Hawaii to here. So
yeah,
what brought you to California? What was the?
So I know I didn't want to leave Hawaii, but yeah, my ex-husband's job brought us back to California, and then I have family here. So
okay,
yeah.
All right. So there's a little bit of a reason to be here.
Yeah.
So you're an OG of Wolf Connection.
She is an OG. She's been here for a long time. That's great. Yeah. So I mean, I think just to start off, so just let her. So what exactly is sound healing and the technique of healing through sound? So how would somebody come across that? What's the way you do it?
Oh, good. So a sound bath is what I do, and it's a relaxation concert that helps to calm the mind, relax the body, and activate your body's natural healing systems. It's really putting you in a relaxation state so your body can heal itself.
So what would, because I was thinking about this last night as I was, figuring out like how we're going to talk about and facilitate this conversation. So there's a lot of sound healing or sound, let's say, CDs or things like that. Let's say like whale sounds in Amazon, the rainforest. So what is the niche with sound baths that's so different, because you've been doing it for over 20 years.
Yes.
So what is, how do you get into practicing that, and what are some of the techniques that you use when you do that?
Okay, well, some of the so there's specific frequencies that help us to relax, and what I work with is 432 hertz, which is a frequency it's a master frequency. It's found in nature, and it's a harmonic frequency that helps us to relax. But really, all of the instruments have a specific function. And I wanted to show you some of it too, but we'll get into the actual experience. But the gongs help to clear the subconscious mind. So any emotional trauma you've been carrying around, any thought patterns that no longer serve you, anxiety, stress, it really clears that out and breaks through that. And then I use crystal bowls that are tuned to the chakras, and I brought some of those today too. And they help to retune the energies in the body. And really, sometimes we have energy stuck, and these harmonic frequencies can help bring that up. So I encourage everyone, feel it so you can heal it and clear it out and let it go. So it's really the sounds help to clear everything, relax the body. And how I got into it was I just was curious. And I think I was like 16, 17, and a series of events happened where it felt kind of like a heartbreak. And I felt like it was like shake it up to wake it up. So everything went wrong. And then I was like, wait, there's got to be more to this than just this reality. And then as soon as I had that thought, things showed up, and I just started learning. And then what helped me, I wanted to share with others.
I mean, that's cool. That's amazing how those little things. Just so everybody we're not video recording yet, but yeah. So Anna brought a bunch of different tools with her today. So we'll get to hear a couple samples of things. So that's when she says we have a gong in here. So there's a gong. We do have a couple bowls. She means a literal gong. But no, and I find that fascinating, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of things we were discussing in some of the earlier podcast interviews with just staff members here, how you come to a realization of something that you want to do. And that just seemed like it resonated with you at that young age, that this is your life, this is your practice. It's fascinating how that happens, right? I mean,
well, I mean, I feel like sometimes the obstacle is the gift, and it leads us in that direction that really, it's like the hero's journey. You have to go through something so that way you can stand up and help others. Like it gives you power. And it's an interesting time that we're in now.
Right.
So I feel like maybe collectively we're all doing that together. Like, okay, pattern interrupt. What can we learn here? How can we help? How can we kind of change the world?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's a fascinating time, and it's also, I mean, obviously there's a lot of heartbreak and there's a lot of loss going on right now, but I think also there's a lot of discovery and empowerment in a way that we're all finding different ways to cope. And I feel is another way. I want to bring back to the gong, because what you said really resonated with me, is that it sort of shocks the system.
Yes.
And there are a lot of, there's music that I listen to where they use the gong and you're right, it's really a shock when you hear that, because it's such a different sound than you're used to hearing. And Stephen, plays instruments and he plays the guitar, but I just feel like it's such a powerful instrument to use, and you wouldn't think it, in this way.
Yeah, and I also want to say it's not really a shock, but it's a clearing. It's a tool, because the sound of a gong is a deep primordial sound. So they've done recordings of outer space, and it's the same kind of sound. Like if you listen to that, NASA's recordings, and also they say that in the womb we hear some of these sounds. So I've even brought these instruments with animals that have gone through trauma, and they're not afraid. They actually come closer and they like the sound. So even though it sounds like something we've never heard, it's like it brings a lot of deep calming. So it's almost like, what is that? But then it really puts you in that meditative state. So it's even good for people who can't meditate. They're like, what is this? Sit down, do nothing. Right. It makes your brain waves. So the sound of the gong, your brain waves actually start to slow down, and it kicks on that relaxation response, and puts your parasympathetic nervous system in clutch, and then your body relaxes.
Wow. And how it's just, so how is this? How do you know? I mean, I know it's.
I mean, that would have been a lot.
But I love this, because this is really getting into the deep. It's almost the physiological connects with this. Is it somewhat psychological as well? Because I think there's a draw between that also, because people may think, like you said, okay, I'm going to sit here and listen to noise or sounds and things like that, and how is this going to heal me when people maybe think of calming is meditation, is silence, it's sort of lower registers of things. So how do you know, or how can you get someone into that state with any of your crystal bowls or the gong per se?
So these are really good questions, by the way. So this is an ancient science, but now, or ancient practice. It's been in every different religion, but also the peoples. Like the gong was around 5,000 BC, and some of these instruments have been used for thousands of years. And but now science has kind of caught up with that, and it's proving that it's really working. And they've done studies where the parents, they have monitors on the body, and when people hear these sounds, they see that the parasympathetic nervous system kicks into clutch. There's been studies, but wait, I forgot the question. Sorry.
Actually, this brings up a good. So when you say it kicks into clutch, so what does that mean when it kicks into clutch? Is that, because when I hear clutch, I think of a car. So that, right, but it's like is it the same thing? Is it like shifting a gear? Is that kind of what that means?
It's like a shifting gear. So the parasympathetic nervous system has to do with relaxation, and it also helps when you're in that state. You can digest your food. So the sympathetic nervous system is almost like fight or flight, and then the parasympathetic is relaxation and just total digestion where the body is relaxed. And so that's what it is. It actually takes you from that place of fight or flight into that relaxation state. So that's why it's very similar to meditation.
Okay.
It sounds really similar. I was listening to something actually the last 2 days. This reminds me of it. The sound of it's not om, but like AUM. Just sort of how that's this primordial understanding of sound, and it's very natural and primal for us to make that sound, and it sort of just centers you upon hearing it. It's like you can't fight it. Yeah.
Exactly. Have you guys seen that video where there's a dad holding a baby and he started oming and the baby was crying and all of a sudden the baby was like happy? I was like, that would be,
Yeah. I mean, I find when I'm in meditation and I just have that monkey mind that just won't stop thinking about things, the AUM sound just, you do that freaking 72 times and the day's different. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And that's why again, because Steve and I were discussing this before today, and we're like, because there's so many practices I feel like out there that are trying to center yourself and trying, because there are a lot of anxious individuals. I mean, especially now. I mean, but more so, I think with this also, what this sort of a time is doing is it's really bringing to light how much anxiety I think we all have, and whether we say we're diagnosed as anxious or we have high anxiety or we have, I feel like we all have different levels of it, and there's multiple different ways to get through it.
Yeah.
I know, and again, bringing it back to you and your practice. So, I mean, how, when you bring on, I want to say they're clients, but I assume they're clients, when you bring in a patient or a client that comes to you, what are some of the things that they are what are they coming for you to sort of heal or, dissipate? What are some of the things that you have encountered over your 20 years?
Well, I think also to speak about stress and anxiety, it's not even like it has to be a traumatic event anymore. It's just like the human experience.
Right. Just living in the world, basically.
Just waking up now.
Some people say like, okay, I just feel like my energy is blocked.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. And with the sounds, if there's blocked emotions in the body, they will come up. Like people have cried and even laughter, like just a release of that stuck energy and kind of everything. It's good for depression, anxiety, sleep. I have a new album now and people are playing it as they sleep and they're like, I've never slept so good in my life. And really it's like we're holding on to so much that we don't even know what we're holding on to until we put it down. But it's kind of been everything, like even headaches, tinnitus, people with autoimmune disease, someone with cancer. She said that she is doing the treatments, the radiation and the chemotherapy, but she just needed some extra good energy and vibrations. And she started listening to the album because now we're all socially isolated. And she said it made the biggest difference. So I think it can help really everything. Like we're in a vibrational system. And Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think about frequency and vibrations. So we're really made up of vibrations. It's energy. So it's really like clearing away things that you don't even know that you're holding on to. But mostly I do see people in small groups, but what I usually do is gather big groups together and like 200 people, and we'll do this big sound bath. I train sound healers, so everyone is trained with me, and then we have like a whole group of sound healers all around the room sending this good energy around, and it becomes like a whole chamber of healing sounds. And just having the community together too is healing, but having so many surround sound healers and me, and we're all sending the same good vibrations. It's really transformational. And it's really, the people come up to me and they're like, you don't know how much this changed my life. And I feel like so blessed to be able to share it.
I mean, just thinking about that, because I'm thinking of an amphitheater almost with 200. Think about 200 people, and then just this tidal wave of sound, just sort of crashing on everybody and sort of making that happen. So, I get, you're saying so many awesome things that I don't even need my I don't even need my questions. We're just going off, and Stephen's great with this. But first of all, you should write a quote book, because I feel like you've in the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you've said so many things that I'm like, oh, that'd be good on a Hallmark card, or good on a like one of those calendars rip away. But so when just like the clutch. So when people get dropped into the clutch and you want them to drop into that, when there is blocked energy, and I will be completely honest, when I first started at Wolf Connection, there was a lot of talk of energy and moving through energy, and I didn't realize how much energy I had that was blocked, and it was moving through my own stuff to be honest. But just when, like you said, it could be simple things. So when people have blocked energy, what can that manifest itself to? Is it as simple as that? Like you said, as simple as a headache? Like, what are some of the things that you say, like when you say your energy is stuck? If there's basically like a clogged drain, what does that look like in, layman's terms in a way?
Yeah. So, say you had an experience and you didn't really process the emotion of it. It can be stuck in your energetic field. Like an easy example is a heartbreak. Right? So people might say, oh, I have a headache, or my shoulders hurt, or my knees hurt, something like that, where your body kind of starts to, first it whispers to you like, okay, deal with this, right? Then a little bigger message comes. And if you ignore it for some time, then you can feel like, stress, anxiety, fatigue, it affects your immune system. It can grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's really because we're holding on to old pain, and also just holding whatever is associated with the pain, like stress and all that. So the symptoms can be autoimmune disease, it can be migraines, it can be headaches, it can be all these different things that you're like, why does my head hurt? Oh yeah, it's because I have pain in my heart. So these sounds are meant to kind of retune the system, so all of that energy will come up, so you can feel it and heal it, so you don't have to carry it around anymore.
And I think that it's something, it seems as though practices such as as a sound bath, these things are becoming more routine or a little bit more commonplace, which I think is good. Whereas we used to have just the regular therapies, talk it out, and there's, it's, basic, I hate to use this one, but different strokes for different folks, is that totally. It's not always, talking it out or listening to, whatever sound, the typical therapies that are out there. So, I mean, when people hear that and they say, how can a sound clear my energy field, let's say, or basically do a reset, what are some other examples that you've seen? So just to give, like you said, you've had people with cancer treatments and things like that. What are just some other ones that you've had recently, even maybe? That's a good question. So just really, everyone needs to relax. So it's universally good for everybody. It's easy. So Anna just broke the code. We're just going to relax.
Relax. And sometimes you need to relax so you can receive. And some of these things, so some people have big experiences right away, and others, because they've been so stressed out, it's chronic stress, chronic fatigue, where they haven't relaxed in however many years. It takes a little bit more time, but it shows up as everything. It could be just like fatigue. They don't know why they don't have energy, or the headaches, the tinnitus, anything associated with stress. And if you look at the causes of a lot of disease, if you go back to the root of it, it has to do with stress. So It's really universally good for everything, for sleep, for even some business people say, they're like, I don't know how this works, but every time I come to the sound bath, the next day something will happen. And they're like, I don't know. And even actors come and they say like, I don't know what it is. And they'll come repeatedly because they feel like it resets their system and like it opens up opportunities. But as far as ailments, I feel like the more relaxed we are, the body can heal itself.
So it's almost like it basically goes hand in hand with that with the medical part of it, because we've had, speaking from experience, I know, I've had shoulder tears for a while just from old lifting injuries and things like that. And initially I was contemplating surgery, and this won't be a long story, but so and it wasn't anything it wasn't a sound bath or things like that. But I was speaking to one of my CrossFit coaches, and I'm like, I don't know, I have these tears up and down my chest and things like that. He's like, we're not doing surgery. He's like, we're going to do these different exercises. We're going to ratchet you back. You're not going to do heavy lifting loads anymore. And we're going to basically do the same thing as sort of reset your lifting structure and to get all of this stuff. I used to go to sleep my shoulder was literally on fire every night. And it was like I had to have a pillow on it. And it just took that different approach, doing rubber, band exercises, stretching every time, stretching certain muscles, working on my chest and stretching those things out, and learning and understanding physiologically all this stuff is connected. Shoulder and back and chest, and the initial pain of a knee pain probably doesn't resonate in your knee. It's probably in your calf or somewhere else. Yeah. So just that was something that I feel like is a way of tune. It's almost like we have to tune back in to our bodies, right? In a way. I mean, so in a time like this, what would you, because we're in social isolation, most of us are in isolation, we're with, our husbands, our wives, our partners, our kids, whatever. Is there a practice people can do that you would suggest even, because you also practice yoga as well?
Yes.
Are you a yoga instructor? How long have you been doing that as well?
I've been doing it, now it's 9 years. I did the training about 10 years ago. Okay.
So almost a decade for yoga. So what's something that you could suggest even for people right now, if they're listening at home, what's something that they can do on their own that you would suggest to sort of break that tension?
Yeah. Well, I would just tell them an easy fix is to listen to the album. They can stream it for free on Spotify or Apple and just go to sleep listening to it, because it gives you like a whole system reset.
So what's the name of the album so they can look it up on? So it's Spotify and Apple. So what's the name of the album?
Shakti Sound Bath.
And Shakti is spelled Shakti.
Yes.
Okay. Shakti Sound Bath. Okay. So you guys can look at that for when you listen to, it's under music? Is that where they would find it?
Yeah, it's under music.
Okay, great. So go ahead. Sorry.
And then I was just saying, I wanted to say just taking some deep breaths, like really filling the belly. Let's do it real quick now. So most of the time people will breathe into their chest, but that can actually add to anxiety. So you want to inhale and balloon the belly out. So inhale and exhale with the sigh. And then doing that a couple of times and letting the exhale be longer than the inhale. But I would also suggest even that's a little thing that you can do right away, but even going on YouTube, or I even have a Instagram where I do live things, but just connecting kind of back to some of those tools. I teach Kundalini Yoga, which is a lot of breath work and moving the spine. And I feel like that out of everything, out of all the yogas, it gives you an immediate experience. So there's a couple of breathwork tools that, say you're all stressed out, within a minute, it can take you back to feeling calm.
So the difference between, because I've taken yoga before, and it's obviously there's hot yoga and things like that. So the difference between, let's say, traditional yoga, where you go in, you're doing tree poses, it's a lot of stretching. So with Kundalini, it's more breath and more are you elongating the spine? What's the tools for Kundalini?
Yeah, so you're moving the spine with the breath. So you'll just it's just really like energizing the spine. So some of the movements are still some of the ones that you have in traditional yoga, the cat cow, but then there's like different twists to really energize the spine, and that gives you immediate boost, like immediate energy. And some of the breath work is another thing of oxygenating the body. So then you feel like awake and more clear, and it helps you really just kind of come back to the present moment.
Is there a specific time? Does it matter? Is this something you can do if you feel, let's say, is it something you do when you wake up? Is it something when you feel stress coming on? Or is it just a general practice that you can say, I'm just going to do Kundalini for, a minute, 90 seconds, 5 minutes? What's the typical, what would you say?
Yeah, so you can do it any time of day, but if you do it in the morning, it sets your energy for the day. Like I do some stomach exercises, so that really helps your alignment. And then if anything's going around, if there's lots of things happening, you don't take on other people's energy. You stay strong in your power. You're really activating the navel, and the navel is where you hold your power, so you don't get flopped around in the day. Right. So ideally, if you can do it in the morning, is great. But throughout the day, anytime you're feeling off, you can be like, okay, wait a minute, I have these tools. And really, it's to turn emotion into devotion. So like those energy and emotions that you're feeling, you can use it to fuel your fire and like use that just to create your day.
Yeah, I find it so interesting. Like life is, the modern world seems so complicated, but it's wild. Just the things that really work are so basic. Like it's just like
I was just going to say
meditation requires no tools.
Yes.
Ohms, like we were talking before, require no tools. It's just this one, an instrument that makes one note, and it's so simple and causes so much. I mean, yoga requires no equipment, just your body. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Like to think about how basic it is to feel good. It's almost like it's not about doing more things. It's about not doing the things we're doing that are taking us out of alignment. Yes. And like these types of simple, like pure, organic practices are so, it's mind blowing how, like if you wanted to know you were loved, how easy is it to feel good? Yes. Do you know what I mean? But we just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like breathing deep. I mean, come on, dude. Like that's the first thing you did when you opened your eyes, but it's so important to do it. And your mood can change. Like you have such a choice over how you feel, and you can do these very simple things: breathing, meditation, yoga, sound baths. Like so simple.
So simple.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, I like to say, keep it simple, sweetie.
She
takes the easy approach, whereas us from the East Coast would put another word in there.
Yeah, like, it's wild.
But but you're right. And I mean, I think to what Stephen was saying too, and you even said it when we first started, there's different frequencies. Yeah. And so, I mean, the different frequencies, I think, do you want to, we can test out, just give us I think let's do this now. Yeah, let's try give us because you have a couple of different bowls here.
Okay.
And so give us, I guess, the frequency. We can hear a little bit of the sound, and then just say like something that you would typically use that sound for. What's something that would be used for? If you're open to it.
And also, when you're doing a setup, is this normal, like 2 or 3 inches, or do you usually do? And is more better, or is?
Yeah, just tell us, because right now we're in sort of a little, or well, not in a confined space, but we're in a smaller space than normal.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's great.
This is a smaller setup. I brought the moon gong today, but I usually have this bigger sun gong. And the gongs, I remember, clear the subconscious, but they also, you can play, tune the chakras on the gongs. And then certain gongs have certain functions. Like this one is for clearing emotional trauma, and also manifesting. So I felt that this is good for the full moon that just passed. But yeah, I have 6 gongs at home, and then with the crystal bowls that I brought, they're made out of quartz crystals, but they're also tuned to the chakras. So I brought 4, but there's usually I bring 7. And the same with the Tibetan bowls, which I brought 1, but usually I bring at least 7 because they're tuned to the energy centers. But just to give you guys a little bit of experience.
No, that's great. And so how do you, before you start just giving us a couple of sounds, what's the tuning process like? Because I think that's, it's fascinating to get to these different levels of sound. How do you get to that?
Who's making these?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a.
So the gongs actually come from Germany, and so there's like a lot of precision. They're Paiste gongs, and so they have there's two different things that they have. They have the planetary set, excuse me, that are actually tuned to the frequencies of the planet. A mathematician and a scientist have found different frequencies, and then they made them how they shape the gongs. And then there's a symphonic gong, which is like universal sounds, and it's not really tuned to one frequency. It's almost like it comes in and out of the frequency, and that's just for clearing. And then the bowls are made out of crystal. They are made here in America, and they're quartz crystal, and they're also tuned to notes. So they're tuned to a frequency, but they also have the notes. Each note helps to retune that certain chakra. And
awesome.
then
no, this is great.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
So, and then the Tibetan bowls too, they come in, they have also a note, but they come in and out of the note. So it's the crystal bowls are more of a clear sound, but should I do like a little bit of each?
Yeah, let's do a little bit of each. Absolutely. So just tell us which one we're doing first, so we can preface. So we're gonna do.
Maybe we'll do the gong first. So,
yeah, we've been talking a lot about the gong. I feel like the gong is the.
The gong helps to clear the subconscious mind. So when you play the gong first, then you can go deeper with the healing of the other instruments because you're doing like a clearing.
I also have one last question before you leave the microphone. Do you feel like, are you playing a song, like a sequence, or are you improvising?
So I have a sequence, but it's also based on who comes. So then I would play different things a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. So it's a little bit of both. But I do have a sequence because the sequence, when I do a sound bath, the sequence, I'll play the gong 3 times. So clearing, retuning the energy, clearing a little bit deeper, retuning the energy a little bit more. And then the final time, it's the loudest gong. So it's like the deepest clearing. But it's almost like gradually. So you don't want to ever like push somebody into experience. It's inviting on them to go to this relaxation space.
Wow. Awesome, Michael. All right. So we're going to start. Yeah. So we're going to start with the gong. Gong first. So go ahead. This is good. At least we have space to do this. We're all.
Wow. Super cool.
That's good. And you know what? It's interesting because I was actually this whole time while we were talking, I'm going between like, warm and cold and stuff. And I was kind of like, like shaking a little bit,
so
just
was I.
a little bit. And then it just sort of, I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. So firsthand experience, everyone. That's great. So you start with that. So then what's the next? So what's the next one
Then we're going to the crystal bowls.
The crystal bowls, okay.
Tuned to the chakras, and they're really retuning your energies. And this one is tuned to 432 hertz.
So 432 hertz would be related. Sorry, Stephen.
And the gong has a frequency as well? Like a specific one, or it goes in and out?
It goes in and out, but this specific gong is G2.
So that's G2 for those of you that...
So G is really the throat chakra, and then it has different octaves that comes in and out.
Okay.
G2.
So G2 for that.
The notes.
Cool.
Okay.
So here you go.
So we're going to do some of the crystal bowls.
Very cool.
So wherever you are, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And exhale with a sigh.
Good. Whoa. that's man, it's just you because you're right, because you do.
That was wild.
It was, yeah.
Never heard anything like that before. Actually.
I know, just like, and it's even through headphones, it's pretty incredible. Just the different. So, and again, I just love that the questions are flowing right now. I don't even have to. So when you say things are tuned to the chakra, so what are you tuning it to? I guess is my question, because I'm not too keen on that. So I want to know, like, what's your way of tuning that things to the chakra? So
okay, so the instruments are already tuned to the specific chakra.
Okay.
And they have notes. The notes
right.
are the tuning. So
okay.
Each chakra has a different note, and that note helps to activate the retuning and the sound. So
wow. Okay. That's awesome. And is that something as a teacher and as a practicer of sound, is that something when if you're looking for another instrument, if you're looking for another bowl, you're looking for another gong, is that something that you relay to whoever's making these things? Or like how do you go about, procuring your tools, your instruments?
They already have, so this, I get them as sets because I want to make sure that we're working on all of the chakras.
Got it.
And so when I also do sound healing teacher training, and then I kind of found whatever tools that I know have worked for me, that's the tools that I share with others. And so it's like the ones that are like the best and the ones that made the biggest transformation in my life, I'm like, try this.
That's awesome.
And then it's a personal kind of preference of like, okay, this really resonated with me, so that's what I want to share with others.
No, and it's great to take that from a personal perspective to want to, envelop that. And it's so great because, you said, at the beginning when we started that you had visited the old ranch, you've been here a couple of times already. What found you, what drew you and Wolf Connection together? How did that relationship start? Because we didn't get to that.
I just love it here too. And I was thinking about that today. when I was really little, like maybe 4 years old, I tell everybody I'm going to be a veterinarian, and I had
that's a very common. Right? I'm the same. I was the same way. Yeah.
And I was actually born in Romania, and I grew up in South Florida. But when I went to visit Romania, I think I was like a teenager, and I went back, and everyone's like, and I guess I still had all my dogs lined up in the bed, the old country, right? And I had all my old toys, and everyone's like, "Are you gonna be a veterinarian? Like, what are you gonna be, a veterinarian?" And I was like, "Ah." Yeah. But really, I feel a deep connection with animals since I was little, and so now I feel like, maybe not directly helping as a veterinarian, but bringing people here. This program is so special and so unique. And just the wolves, they're such powerful animals, and they're so gentle. And I just feel deeply connected to them. So when my friend Howard brought me for the first time, I was like, wow, I didn't even know a place like this could exist. This is like something like out of my wildest dreams. And I even... reading about Native Americans at an early age, I always just felt connected to the wolves.
And I mean, and you talked about too, when you do, and this is just this is an interesting thought that I have too, is that, how is the resistance when you have somebody, when you have a person or a human doing a sound bath, as opposed to doing a sound bath for, wolves or any other animal? What do you find, with wolves, I guess specifically, when you've done them here, what do you find, happens when you do a sound bath for them or with them? I don't know how you would.
I just feel like the animals are really open to it. I think people are like thinking like, oh, how is this going to work?
Right. Yeah, it's a preconceived notion.
And they're waiting for the moment that it works.
Right.
Yeah, and the animals are right in the moment, so they can get the benefits quicker. And I think that it's just like something that they can relate to, people too, but there's not that much
noise, basically.
Noise. Yeah, and I worked with a couple other organizations too with animals, where it's healing the animals and the people at the same time, like where the animals and the people are in the same thing together. And so that was interesting. A deer came right up to me. I have them in my pictures, and the deer loved this song. But yeah, and and horses too. I did one at this horse ranch, and the horses really love it too. But I just think that the animals are just naturally drawn to it.
Is it a common idea that animals have chakras as well?
Well, I feel like animals can sense energy and also vibrations. If they're afraid, so this helps them to relax and then kind of come closer.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, because that's something. Because I saw that on the front page of your website with the deer that's right by you. And do you find that they're a good sort of conductor in that way, in terms of helping people, I guess, sort of drop in? I mean, we've seen this with working with kids and the adults that come here for rehab or veterans and things like that. Some of the stories that we've shared or we're going to share. Do you find them as a good another tool essentially that helps you, make the sound bath even more effective?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it really they drop into the experience. And I feel like when we're around animals, it helps us to relax, and it brings us to this happy place.
Yeah, we're looking at the picture right now. The deer is, it's right there. And that's just something. And I mean, you're just doing your, when you go, what is your website so people can actually go to it? What is it?
ShaktiSoundbath.com.
ShaktiSoundbath.com.
And that's a wild deer.
Yeah, that's a wild deer.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. And I'd love the sound bath.
Yeah.
And usually those animals were rescue animals, so they've been through different traumas. And so anything with a rescued animal sets them off, but actually the sounds help them to relax. And I feel like the connection of people and animals and healing frequencies, that's just like such a powerful connection that really brings the healing to a whole nother level.
Yeah. And we've seen it when we work, with any of the programs that we have, is these young adults, these kids, they open up in a way that they wouldn't have in a normal therapy situation. And it seems like this goes hand in hand with you, as you've been here and you've been part of our, part of the extended pack in a way. I mean, you were up here, I think, last week doing a sound bath and helping, right? And you were here, I think it was just you, but it was just good for that. Is that something too, you think that, it's good for nature and for animals and even for our pack to get sort of that reset? You think that's something that's needed?
100%. I feel like we can, the more we reset and kind of let go of stress, the better we can show up in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, everything, everything you've been saying is, and Stephen, you said it before, it's so basic and very simple, with sounds and things like that. This has just been incredibly awesome. I think, and I thank you for bringing your, the instruments and, explaining a lot of these things in such detail. I think it's just, but it's just, and I wanted to, make sure that it gets out there the right way from someone who's, done this for such a long amount of time, and you're so excellent at what you do.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to the album tonight.
Yeah,
I wrote it down.
So so that before we close, so shaktisoundbath.com is your website. Yes. What is your Instagram? Because you said you did stuff there.
Yeah, it's Anna Netanel. So it's my name, ANANETANEL. And what else? Yeah, just stay connected with me, and also answer direct messages. If people have problems right now, I can help direct them. And
are you doing sound baths on Instagram? I know you're doing yoga on IGTV, you said, or doing it on Instagram? Or are you doing any sound bath stuff on Instagram?
I am. I'm doing sound baths on Instagram and really connecting with a bigger community. I did one with someone in the UK, and we had like 3,700 people tune into the sound bath experience. And
great.
Yeah, so I feel like super blessed to be able to share it in this way with this new technology.
No, that's great though. And I think that's good. I think now with the way things are, this is a great medium for people to experience, to get to meet you, to learn your story, and just, it's just a good vibe, literally a good vibe, I think in the time that we're in now. So, Stephen, is there anything else that you wanted to say before we close? No, you're good.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel complete. So, check out Anna's website. Check out her Instagram. Also, to stream the album is Apple. So, Apple Podcast and Spotify. Correct?
Yes, it's under music. So it's
it's under music. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if they go there and it's Shakti Sound Bath,
yes,
is the CD, okay, or the stream. Okay, perfect.
Can't forget our closing question.
Yes. Oh, that's right, our closing question. Thank you so much. So we've been asking everybody here, so you said it so perfectly before, but we've been asking this of all of our people that come on. So when you hear the word wolf, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Just happiness. Just right when you said the word, my heart just went so big. Yeah.
Do you have a wolf here that you connect with?
I feel like I connect with all of them, but I want to spend time with all of them more.
Yeah. Super cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we feel we feel that you're connected with us too, and we again we appreciate the work that you've done here, and that you continue to do with us. So you're welcome back anytime.
Thank
you.
Yeah,
if there's anything. If there's any new albums or things that you're releasing, please let us know, and we'll be sure to forward it and let everybody go there and get it. So,
Thank you so much.
All right, awesome.
Alrighty.
So, howls to all of you out there. Thank you so much, and we will. we will see you all next time.
Take care.